G'day and welcome to another edition of Scripting Adventure. We're continuing our series on creating a custom fully parametric door in GDL. In the last episode, we learned about the complexities of the Graphisoft door macro map and which macro to use for your door opening lines. We also covered how to get the basics of calling this macro into your object. In this episode, we'll flesh out the calling of this opening lines macro so that it properly responds to the model view options, the MVOs. I'll also cover some techniques on how to track down relevant Graphisoft parameters. We do a bit of detective work. So we'll just recap. You call the opening lines macro and set these parameters to suit your particular door. A is the leaf width. B is the leaf height, not the overall door height, but the leaf height. Frame thickness is your leaf thickness. Your opening type is 4 is a side hung, but you can get all of the other variations from the 3D script in the opening lines macro. They're all listed here. Opening line in is the outside face opening line. Opening line out is the inside face opening line. The pen is the pen, and the style is either pointing towards the handle or the hinges. So I'll just change those so that you can see what it does. We'll change the outside line to dotted. Opening line pen to something starkly different, and the style will flip it. There it is. It's flipped, it's changed to dotted here. Changed its color, all by updating what we plug in to that macro. So now we just got to get the right inputs for these parameters to plug into the macro. I'll just put these back to what they were. Now, in order to find out what these are, you need to interrogate your model view option. Now, I have been over this before in previous episodes, but we'll talk about it again today. In this particular case, what we're talking about, we want to find out whether this is turned on or off. We want to find out the values of these 3 parameters. Very good. And what we use for that is the library global function, which is similar to the request function. So we'll just have a look in the Graphisoft one. And what we find is that all of our library global requests in this regard are made from the get DW op lines, which is a macro I've mapped here under opening options. Now, we don't have to be as complicated in our scripting as Graphisoft do, because they need to cater for old versions and everyone using it around the world. All things for all people. We just need to focus on our part. And this is the key. We set a variable that we make up. We query the library global. Library globals 13 is your MVO. We ask it to look at a particular parameter and then fill that value of that parameter in our variable. So in this case, the variable is the same here. Success in this case is just an integer. 0 means it failed. It couldn't find that library part or that parameter. 1 means it was successful. So then you say, if I've been successful, then you can test it and do what you need with the parameter, with the variable. So now we just got to find the values, the parameters that we're after, which just looking at this script, we're not entirely sure which one it is we're looking for. So what we do is we open that library globals 13 just by selecting the text and opening it. If we have a look at the interface, we can see, I did that by going to the interface script, clicking on this eyeball icon, and that is our tab in our MVO, and our options are down here that we're after. Now, Archicad's starting to get a bit sluggish because this new interface, this new GDL interface creates or uses memory for every tab you have open. So I'll just close some of these, speed things up a bit. Let's have a look at our parameters, see if we can figure out what these are. So I've got opening line pen, pen for doors. If I change that to something funny, let's see if they're updated here. Got upline style M. Let's change that to 2. Hinges. Come back and change it to 1. Handle. Good. So that's my style. If I change this one to 2, come back to my interface. Dashed. I change it to 1. Solid. So I've found the parameters I am after. I'm after these 3, 1, 2, 3, and I'm after D upline pen. And here is the last one, show B opening line 3D. So that is this one here. It's turned on at the moment. If I come back here and change the default, I can't. Why can't I? Or if I come here and turn that off, it's off. Okay, so that's my last one. Okay, let's do this. Just open up my Get DW Oplines again. If I search for this parameter, which is turning on and off the lines, this is what we're after. This is the segment of code I'm after to find out my opening line on off and my opening line pen. So let's just copy that into my script and adjust it to suit. That can be the same, that's just made up. It gives me what I need as far as requesting the on-off status of my opening lines, and I get my pen as well. So I can swap that out. So here I can go if opening lines goes up. So if my lines are turned on, I will go to the opening lines, and my pen will be my pen. That's a start. Excellent. So in 3D, if I turn off, how about I put it on a 3D MVO? That'd be good, eh? And turn off my opening lines. Good, it's responding. That's pretty neat, eh? Turn them back on and change my pen again to something really contrasty so that I can see the difference. Good. So the on-off is working. The pen is working. And here are my other requests, which calls the opening line type for the inside, or the outside rather, the opening line type for the other side of the door, even though it says out, it's in, and whether it's hinge or handle. So I can copy those across and then make use of what I need. So that one is that one. That one is that one. And that one is that one. Is that right? I've got dotted for both. Let's just change one to solid, one to dotted. Put this on the hinges side. Hinges worked. That is not working. All right, let's figure out why not. So we've got lines in place. They are responding to our MVO, but they are just not displaying correctly. So the outside line should be a solid line and the inside line should be a dotted line. And they're just different. So let's figure out why that is. We go to our library globals 13 and the parameter script. We'll see that the values for our open line type M and out is 1, 2, 3, 4. If we have a look at our interface, search here, they've got the values 1, 2, and 3 in the relevant interface code. So they've got 3 items here, 3 items here, solid, dashed, and dotted. If we have a look at the master script for ST opening line type, they've defined solid, dash, dotted. We've also got a dashed and dotted, which doesn't appear in our options, and none, which again doesn't appear in our options. So it's all a bit convoluted, but the bottom line for us is for solid, they've got a value of 1. We want a value of 0. For dashed, they have a value of 2. We need to call a value of 1, and so on. So essentially what we need to do is take the value that we get out of the MVO and minus 1. So here where we've queried our library global, the open line type, and if it's successful, we want to do that minus 1. And the out one, we want to do that minus 1. So I'll save that, go to our selection. That's much better, right? Solid out, dotted in. Solid, dotted. Change them both to dashed. Excellent. So that is responding just how we want to the MVO. Very good. And I can see in this case that I haven't quite got these in the right place. I'm meeting the bottom of the frame. They just need to be raised up to be on the leaf. And that'll be a Y transformation. That's my Y axis there. And once we run through all these, I need to delete that transformation. Much better. And to compare it to the Graphisoft door, that's how they run their dashed lines as well. To the edge of the leaf. And in this instance, to the edge of the leaf, like that. So it's being consistent with the door type. The other thing I'll do is I'll take all of these out of my leaf subroutine and put them in my opening lines subroutine, because there's no need to execute these functions unless the opening lines are turned on. And I'll also take this pen request out of there and put it in my opening lines subroutine. Keep it all together. We'll wrap this one up there. Now you know how to effectively call the Graphisoft opening lines macro so that it properly responds to the model view options. And you also know some techniques on how to track down Graphisoft parameters and their values, how to be a bit of a parameters detective. In the next episode, we're going to be scripting our door handles. I'll see you there.